Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's been a week, maybe a couple of days. I can't remember since our last Palantir update. Either way, what's important is we're about to break it down now. We're going to go over the charts as we're days away from their earnings. And guys, well, as the overall market's selling off today, Palantir is actually holding up, and we broke over. It looks like $200 a share. Was that yesterday, this morning? Either way, we're going to break it down and go over what to expect from their earnings. We'll break down the numbers, the charts, what I'm doing, right, as coming from somebody that owns the stock at a $20 cost basis, right? So I want to break down what I'm looking to do here, which honestly I'm considering locking a little profit. You might think I'm nuts, but we're going to talk about it in this video. Guys, hit the like button, subscribe, join the Patreon for my portfolio updates, linked down below. Also, it's in the comments if you want to. No pressure, obviously. And now let's dive into it. So the overall market is down. It's currently 3:35 p.m. And you're watching this obviously after the market closed, and we're down across the board. Dow's down 0.1, Russell over 0.5%, S&P's down 0.9, QQQ's down 1.3%. And again, Palantir is down what? 1%, 0.8, 0.9, 1%. And we hit over $200 a share, looks like, in the overnight market. Yeah, so Palantir's holding up. Why? Because earnings are on the 3rd, and there's a lot of hype here, heading into Palantir's earnings, and that's what's keeping the stock propped up in the midst of the sell-off. You know, if we didn't have earnings, the reality is this stock would be down maybe 5 to 7%, maybe not 7, but maybe 5% today. But yeah, it's being propped up, and the stock is up a good chunk since about a week ago. We hit 170 a week ago. Think about that. And now we're at 196. We're up 16% off of that low, and we're completely breaking out. You know, we're above the moving averages. We have a golden cross. We're taking out this this wedge, and it's clearly showing signs of a breakout after about, let's see, 2.5 months of consolidation. And this is what makes me hesitant to actually lock in some profits here before earnings, because the reality is, guys, Palantir actually was flat for about 2.5 months. Now it's starting to break out again. So I feel like, am I selling a little too early in this new breakout, right? That's kind of what's going on in my head. Maybe I'm being greedy. I don't know, guys, right? But it's like Palantir, again, it's been flat, or it was flat for pretty much 3 months almost. Since the beginning of August, guys, we didn't do much, right? Beginning of August, we were at 165, 170, and we were just there a week ago, right? Literally a week ago, and now we're starting to break out. So part of me is like, maybe lock in some profits, but part of me is like, man, I don't really need the money in the short term. It's like, I don't really need to rebalance now either. I mean, my Palantir position is not as big as it was because I've bought more stocks. I've grown the portfolio, but I've added new stocks, which obviously when you add new stocks to your portfolio, fresh capital, it makes your other positions smaller. Math, right, guys? Unless your position just blows up still, if it keeps going up. Either way, Palantir at this point, it's not that big of a holding for me percentage-wise. It's gone up a lot, you know what I mean? Again, I'm in at 20 bucks a share, but at this point, I'm cool with holding on to it. And part of me is like, I feel like this could juice up to like 225 even, 215, 210 maybe, if earnings come in super hot. Who knows? But that could easily... it could go the other direction as well. That's the risk there. But at this point, man, I'm holding on. Part of me, again, is like, maybe I should sell a little bit. I did sell. You guys know I did lock in profit once on Palantir, one time. And you want to know where it was? For those that don't remember, I mentioned this publicly. I made a video the day I did it, actually. But if you look at it here, this is when I locked in the first profit. Actually, no, it wasn't this one. Oh my God, the stock's gone up so much. It was this time right here. So we hit 125 bucks a share back in February at the beginning of this year. Do you guys remember that? I sure remember that. We hit 125 bucks, and I locked in profits at 123, or 121. Either way, it was in the 120s for sure. And literally, guys, it collapsed right after. I swear to God, I'm not kidding. It was either the day of the drop or the day before the drop. I locked in some profits, and it cratered after. I'm like, holy smokes, talk about timing, right? And that doesn't happen every time, obviously, but that's what happened back then. And then, obviously, look at what happened after. So this is the risk, or not even the risk, but when you're locking in profits, and guys, I was up like, again, I sold profits, or I took profits at 120. I was in at $20, right? My shares are at $20 a share. So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense to lock in profits, but when you pull the layers back, you're like, man, maybe I shouldn't have. But it's prudent to actually do what I did. But, your greedy side takes over sometimes. Then it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't lock in profits. Let it ride. I don't need the money. But you get the point. The battle of the battle everyday investors have, traders have in their head. You know what I mean, guys? That's what we're dealing with here. But hey, I've let it ride the last couple of months, and it's done me well. And I've pulled, or I haven't, I've held on every pullback, and it's proven well. So at this point, guys, I'm just gonna hold for the most part. If I lock in profits, it's probably gonna be after earnings. If the stock sees, listen here, if the stock sees a $20 pop, if it goes up like 10% after earnings, I'm probably going to lock in some profits. Maybe take 5-10% of the position off, something like that. But if it tanks after, I'm not going to sell. I'm just going to hold. If it stays flat, I'm going to hold. But yeah, we'll see, guys. We'll see how it goes. Let's see these numbers now. I've been yapping a little bit too much here. Let's see the numbers, because right now, guys, Palantir has grown a lot. The company has grown a lot. When I first started buying the stock, I think it was a 30-40 billion market cap. Now it's 500 billion almost. It's ridiculous. I mean, the PE ratio is a 650. That is disgusting. Let's just keep it real. It's super high. But when it comes to these unicorn companies, I've said this before, don't always judge it solely based on the PE. Because look, guys, newsflash, the PE was high when the stock was at $40, $50, right? And now it's at 200. So if you just look solely at the PE, you're going to miss out on huge growth opportunities. That's if you're a growth investor, right? If you're a growth investor, if you're looking at tech stocks, don't fixate too much on the PE, or you're going to lose out on massive upside. Like this case. Obviously, if you're looking for value, if you're trying to buy the next value stock, yeah, you got to look at certain metrics like the PE to see if it makes sense. But in this case, yeah, it's super high, but if you focused on the PE, you're going to lose money, or not lose money, but miss out on a major opportunity, right? Think about it. All these big tech stocks that are super big now on Wall Street, right? Apple, Amazon, all these companies we use day in, day out, they had super high P's as well when their stocks were a lot smaller. So think about it like that. And of course, there are going to be stocks that are high growth companies that have high PE ratios that aren't unicorn companies, and these companies end up sucking. Yes, there are going to be a lot of those. So you got to be careful. But Palantir, I don't think, is one of them. And I think I saw the it factor early on in this company, as a lot of us did, right? And they've proven right? And not all of them work like that. That's the reality. But for earnings coming up on the 5th, right? Or the 3rd, rather, excuse me, the 3rd of November. Are you ready for this, guys? Palantir, oh man, EPS estimate is 17 cents on average versus last year's 10 cents. All right, not bad, right? And revenue, look at this. Their revenue growth is projected at 50%, 50, right? So average estimate is $1.09 billion versus last year's $725 million. So 50% revenue growth is what's expected out of PLTR. And if they come in hotter than that, man, 55%, 60%. If they come out with some groundbreaking news, you know how companies do that. You know how companies wait till earnings sometimes to release big info. Hey, if we get something like that, this could, I'm telling you, go to 205, go to 210. That's where it could be going, and that's where I'd consider, like I said, locking in some, not all, obviously. I can't envision myself selling all my Palantir, but that's where I'd consider selling some of it. You know what I mean? And we'll see exactly how much of it, where it will be. We'll see. We'll see if it even sells or pops. Right? We'll see how that goes. And even if I sell it off to begin with, I'll keep you guys updated. But yeah, I'm pretty excited, as a lot of us are, for these earnings. The stock's holding up pretty well in the midst of a red day. I love that. And if we get a rebound, guys, in the overall stock market, whether it's later today, or not today, but tomorrow, right? Early next week, that could be setting up for, that could juice Palantir's rally even more if it were to pop after earnings. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments your thoughts. Hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and join the Patreon if you want to keep up with my portfolio updates. That's linked down below. Also, it's in the comments. Feel free to join, guys. I post updates literally multiple times a week. Every week I posted 2 updates. I think today I bought 2 stocks today. Earlier in the week. I mean, look, I've been buying a lot of stocks. I'll be honest. It's kind of what I do, right? So if you want to be a part of it, you know where the links are. I'll get you, or I'll see you there, and I'll catch you in the next video.